Welcome to the Energy Pipeline podcast, sponsored by CAT, powered by Upright Digital. My name is Josh Lowrey. We are here back in 2026 in the Praying Associates podcast studio for the first time all year. We have been literally around the world. I am solo today. My co-hosts extraordinaires are no longer with us. The reason for that is I am the new host for the CAT Energy Pipeline podcast, which is a true honor. I'm really excited about this. CAT has had this podcast for many years, and our friends at OGGN did an awesome job with it. Upright Digital now has the honor of taking over this podcast for CAT, which we call Big Cat. There's lots of different cats out there, but this is the big boy. This is CAT. So this is our first episode, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute when I introduce the guest, but it's Valentine week of 2026, and I am joined by Andy Publes, Director of Account Management for Drilling and Completion at Caterpillar. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you, Josh. It's a pleasure meeting you. I'm thrilled to be here today.
Well, thank you. This is exciting. As I kind of mentioned, this is our first episode with Caterpillar. And like I said, I'm excited because, listen, there's only a couple of brands in the world that are Caterpillar. And you've been there for 17 years, so right. You know the inside, the outside of what that company looks like. And when you're on the outside of Caterpillar, whether you're a supplier to them or just within the industry, the excellence that is Caterpillar it's obvious. And when this opportunity came up for us, it's just an honor. So number one, thank you, Caterpillar. Thank you, Caterpillar. By the way, this is also, we're doing these on camera for the first time. So if you are used to listening to these podcasts, the Energy Pipeline, just audio, surprise, we're on camera now. So you get to see Andy's pretty face. We'll show you the links below on how to go listen to these things. I dressed up because it is Valentine's week. Not day, but the week. I actually don't celebrate Valentine's Day because I think it's a Hallmark holiday, but I like the color pink. So I wore my pink vest, my pink Nike shoes. These are pretty slick.
They're not just pink shoes. They're Nike Valentine's edition.
They've got a heart on
That's
them.
Right. That's right.
They're a bit extreme. Then I thought, I was getting ready this morning. I'm like, this is the first Caterpillar on-camera podcast. Like, I didn't want to wear, the cat yellow. I just thought that would be obnoxious. I was like, I'll wear pink, and that way they'll be like, what is this guy wearing? I got to go check this podcast out.
Right.
So this is how we are. You're going to, and I have a black eye. Look at this black eye. This is a tough start for me. You should have, so you hear my congestion right now? I'm at the tail end of this winter congestion that's happening. I had a black eye for the last 5 days from playing sports with my son. So like 5 days ago, I had a black eye and congestion. I look like I was in a fight. So those
are the worst.
This has been a rough couple, but I look great today.
100%.
Thank you, Andy. You're going to be
I should have brought some pink cat apparel. We do have that, and maybe next time we would do that.
Is that for Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to support Breast Cancer Awareness Month with CAT. Let me know when that is. I'll wear that whole month. Every podcast I do, we will wear pink cat to kind of talk about. I'm sure cat is in every charity.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Well, that's a great charity too, by the way.
Yeah.
That's awareness that needs to be brought to that. There's amazing advances that have been made in the last 50 years on that. And again, with CAT's megaphone that they have, I'm sure they do a lot of good for the communities they're involved in.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the communities they're involved in, Andy, your accent is not Texas. Where are you from? And give us a little background on you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Cuba.
Cuba.
Yeah, that's right.
As you can tell, I'm fluent, but go ahead.
And moved to United States in 2001. I was 15 years old. Went straight into high school and then Michigan Tech up in the Upper Peninsula. So that was quite a change for me.
I bet it was.
A few degrees difference than Cuba, but got my electrical engineering degree. And then as I was looking for a job, Silicon Valley was hot at that time, and a lot of people wanted to go into that space. And I was looking around and saw Caterpillar and started really paying attention to what they do and the customers that they serve. And I was just an engineer looking for a challenge that I can go and throw my weight in. And looking at what Caterpillar does and the mission of solving the customer's toughest challenge really draw my attention. And it has been a wild ride. In 17 years, I have worked in different industries.
I was wondering.
In the last 6 years, I have been in oil and gas, and I am fascinated by the whole operation of oil and gas and how it fuels the world, and people don't really know about it.
Right. You know, so obviously, if you're in manufacturing, the UP, Upper Peninsula.
That's right. Oh, yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
it.
So I'm from manufacturing. That's my background. So I've obviously worked in the whole, you know, that entire Rust Belt area from Pennsylvania, Ohio, everywhere up there. Caterpillar is even bigger there, and they were huge. The industrial world is huge up there, right? They there's not a machine shop you go into that they're not working with CAT at some level. So I do remember that early 2000 transition where oil and gas companies kind of made their way up there to start working with those machine shops. And then I remember when those companies really kind of made their way south, if you will. So right. you mentioned you came out of, I'm assuming early 2000s, you came out of college.
That's right.
And so what was your first entry into CAT? Where did they put you first?
Yeah, I actually interned in the electric power division. So I got to know quite a bit about power generation. And then after that, I have a small stint in the locomotive business, which is something that is not well known, that Caterpillar has a presence in that space. And then,
speaking of an industry that is wildly important that nobody really thinks about.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so after that, I spent 10 years working in Peoria, Illinois, and I work in different engine systems for oil and gas, mining, construction industries, and just getting to work on like emissions related products like Tier 4. But you know, as you mentioned, in Peoria, it's not a matter of who do you work for, it's a matter of which building
Correct.
do you work.
Correct.
So no, it's been fascinating to get the breadth of the experiences that I had at Caterpillar and being able to understand, because when we design a product, we spend a lot of time trying to understand how does that product helps the customer. And so it gave me an opportunity to really dive into the different industries to really understand, as I'm designing things, how can I make the life easier for the customer.
You know, we're going to get to the topics that we want to talk about, but I'm actually really curious. Customer focus is a huge deal,
100%.
Especially in oil and gas. I feel like we're needy people. And are all industries needy, or is oil and gas extra needy? And do you understand what I mean by needy? I mean, do they want? I feel like oil and gas wants what they want right away. Is locomotive? Are they as pressurized? I don't know if that's the right word either, as oil and gas.
Yeah, I get what you mean. You know, I think for us, the customer focus is whether we're drawn by the customer or we seek the customer. That has been our North Star as we think about designing products. I will say, and I think this is where you're getting to, in oil and gas, the cycles and the technology shift is so aggressive that we require a different type of mindset in oil and gas because we have to adapt a lot faster to the customer needs, where when you start thinking about mining and other industries, the technology shift cycles takes a lot longer, and so we have a lot more opportunities to design products.
Okay.
And so I would say it's the same focus. It's just when I say a wild ride, it is a wild ride in oil and gas.
Right.
And we certainly understand why the customers shift technologies. I see it more as we are at the top of the spear when it comes to global technologies, and I would not want to change that at all.
So you've been here for 6 years.
Yeah.
So does that mean you came here in 2019 or 2020? Because either one of those sound terrible, if I'm being honest, like a move to Houston for oil and gas.
So I had two major moves in my career.
Okay.
The first one was I joined Caterpillar in 2009, January, and that was the global meltdown.
Perfect.
and then after that, I made the decision to move into oil and gas, and it was in January of 2020. So
oh my gosh.
A few months after, it's negative $35 per barrel, and I'm thinking,
Great move.
Every time I move, something like this happens. But it was very interesting to see Caterpillar's leadership through that process,
right.
And how we doubled down on customer focus, because we knew that during that period our customers were gonna go through a hard time, and so we started getting really creative on how we can support them beyond the product.
I do want to dig into this for just a second, because I would think that memories, because your brand, had you just moved to Texas at that point then? January of 2020.
No traffic on the way down from Peoria
That
to.
is unbelievable. So you just got here.
Yep.
And then obviously 2020 happens.
Yes.
And you're immediately stay at home, and then the whole world. So then you have to watch your new industry, your new city. You're wearing your 100-year Caterpillar vest right now. So Caterpillar's not new. They've been through, in 100 years, they've seen literally everything.
Right.
World War I's, II's, they've seen it all. Right. So you got to see calm management, I assume. And what did that look like from your, because I would imagine those are very fresh memories for you to be like, hey, I'm going to pay attention to what's going on right now.
Yeah. And you say internally to Caterpillar?
Right.
You know, when I came in, at that time, one of our leaders was John Shanahan, which I think you have met. And I remember being in a big conference and internal, and we were talking about the dynamics and what is the world going to look like moving forward. And that was one of my first time that I met John, and he goes up front and he said, hey, this is a great opportunity for us to show leadership to our customers and help. So he's looking at these from a different lens of how do we step up and provide the leadership that our customers need when it comes to technology. And I just remember looking at him from afar and thinking, that is a complete different world than everything else that is being said.
They're not saying that on TV.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that was fascinating. And to me, I just started paying attention to that. And as I started navigating through that world that he created internally, it was just fascinating on the satisfaction that you get whenever you get to a customer, work on a solution that they need. And then after that, they say, this is exactly how I can win in the business. And so to me, it was just that calm leadership.
Yeah.
And seeing it as an opportunity that really made this job a lot of fun.
You know, this is a good, just kind of tangent here. I've never really asked people kind of what those first 6 to 8 weeks of COVID looked like, right?
Yeah.
That's really, because, you know, I remember what ours felt like. Everybody remembers what their first 8-10 weeks felt like and looked like.
Right.
Whether it be fear, movement, action, stagnant, whatever it was. And to hear somebody kind of calmly say, this is an opportunity, I wonder how many people actually said that in front of a bunch of people.
It takes a lot. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're not just thinking about oil and gas. You're thinking about there's people that you know that you're losing, right?
Right.
You don't know what the world is going to look like. And so to be laser focused on the customer and say, this is what we're going to go do. Yeah, to me, that was fascinating.
Yeah, that's really a cool story.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Well, you don't get to 100 years by panicking.
That's right.
You know, that's cool. All right. Well, I mean, your Caterpillar people are so organized.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my gosh. They're like...
Oh, our marketing department is world class.
I had lunch with them the other day as we were planning some stuff, and I think they were like, oh, boy, this Josh guy might screw up our entire plan. they sent us my notes. I'm like, all right, let me check my notes real quick.
I love this dynamic, though.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Let's wing it.
And I told them that. I said, they were showing me what they had in store, and I said, oh, boy. I said, have you guys listened to anything I've ever done? It's gonna be great.
That's right. This could be my last podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's make that happen.
Right. Yeah. No, it's gonna be awesome. So one of the things that we do want to talk about is, as we were talking off air, is, you know, everybody knows Cat. There is any number of products and services that we can talk about. And what I don't like to do, and I know people don't want to hear it and whatever, is, but we do want to talk about, what is the thing or things that Caterpillar, that you guys work on, that changes somebody's life, that's making somebody, like you said, let's focus on technology. This is an opportunity. What are you guys working on right now? And by the way, you just got promoted.
Yes.
By the way, let's go. I pushed past that pretty quickly. That wasn't in my notes, by the way.
That's pretty fresh. That's pretty fresh. Announced, we'll say 2-3 days ago.
Oh, look at this. Breaking news.
Yeah.
But I mean, so like you have a new role. You were the drilling completions product manager. Now you're the director of account management for drilling and completion. So like you have a new role, but what are you going to be focusing on in 2026 that you think is exciting that people need to know about?
Yeah. You know, since I joined oil and gas, I was in engineering, and then I moved into strategy, and the product manager role is really focused on what are the technologies that we need to develop in 5 and 10 years. As I move into this new role, my focus on customer doubles down. I'm now focusing on specifically the accounts and making sure that we have alignment with our customers. Mm-hmm. And so for us, power generation is a big thing. I mean, if you even think about our traditional service provider, they're focused in power generation. We have our gas mechanical system that is revolutionizing the frac operation by being able to burn 100% gas. We have our drilling dual fuel that is really a step change that is something that at some point later on I would love to talk about.
Okay.
And then we have our SPM business where we're really doubling down on how do we help our customer run a safe operation by having technology in place to let them do automation and remove people from the danger zones of a pad. Yeah.
Well, so I could talk SPM the rest of the podcast. I mean, that was where my background is forgings, fluid end forging. Okay. So like that's, I would love to talk about that just because I feel like that's my bread and butter background. But is that where the technology is going, or is it more power? Like I know you guys have your DGB Gen 2 right now.
That's right.
I feel like that is the hotter, not to believe me, my favorite thing in the world are fluid ends. So, but I mean, I just feel like the power side of things is every time you turn on the news.
That's incredible.
It is. That's incredible. All they're talking about. Is AI a bubble? And the second thing is, how are we going to power all this? Right? And I know there's different levels of it, but how are you guys involved in that? And is the DGB part of this world of powering everything?
Yeah. Yeah, when we think about, as we talk to the customer, when we think about power generation, it's not just power generation, it's burning 100% gas. And so a lot of demand comes in with our gas engines and technologies. And one of the things that Caterpillar has is not just a wide range of product from like small gensets to our 2-3 megawatts, but then you start talking about solar turbines that can go up to 35 megawatts and beyond. And so that gives us the opportunity to sit with our customers and said, what are you trying to achieve for these data centers or this production powered opportunity? And then we can right size the operation based on all of the widgets that we have. But that world is fascinating. The demand is incredible, and we're trying to show the same leadership that I talk about during COVID. Just trying to show that leadership and help our customers with their needs. Because a lot of times the question is, I need power for this data center, but there is a lot of other things that we need to talk about. What does that power looks like? What are the transients that you're gonna need? Mm-hmm. Are you gonna need a battery, or is a recip engine or a solar turbine enough? And so those are the things that we're doing with our customers to help them understand. If you think about a traditional frac company getting into this type of space, there is a lot to learn about the electric power world. And with oil and gas and our electric power division that have done this for years, we can sit with our customers and really help them make that transition.
Well, you said something a couple minutes ago. You said you were on the strategy team.
Yeah.
And your job there was to think about things that are 5 to 10 years out. I remember when Cat brought SPM, and even before that, how Cat started buying, they were what's the local one here?
Black Horse?
Black Horse.
Yeah.
So, sorry, it was coming to my, I remember thinking, why are they buying that? And then there was the combination of working with your not agents, but you guys don't call them agents, but like Mustang Cat, for instance, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is a definite fight. Like that didn't happen overnight.
Right.
And so the way you're talking about servicing these clients, like you weren't thinking about data centers the way we are today. Maybe you were. Was Cat thinking about this kind of stuff? Because it feels like you're moving very quickly to react to customers' needs today. But these decisions were made 5 and 10 years ago. Like these plans were made to where we actually have what you need now because of decisions that were made 5 and 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would say data centers snuck up on everybody.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that we were thinking about, especially not the magnitude of the needs. But we were thinking about LNG. We were thinking about the uses of gas. It's fascinating if you look back at the history of CAT, how, let's just say frac. We created a 1,500 horsepower diesel engine, and then everybody else came up to that, and then we just put more and more power to the engine. But then after that, we made a strategic decision to move towards a dual fuel, and that really was very proactive, where we developed a solution even before the market really thought that they needed it, and it helped us provide that type of solution to our customers ahead of time.
I always hear these tier 2 engines are, and I hate to say it like this, but like that's older technology.
Yeah.
But you guys are able to retrofit these now.
We take a lot of pride on what happens after we sell an engine to a customer. And we take a lot of responsibility to make sure that throughout the life cycle of that engine, there is value to the customer. And so this example of the tour drilling, is near to my heart and dear to my heart because we sat down with the drillers and we asked, what are your challenges? And it's the same thing that you always hear, uptime. At that time, they say we need to burn gas.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to run this operation without a lot of interruption. And so we could have gone and say, hey, we have 100% natural gas.
Just to be clear, when you say we need to burn gas, you're talking about we need to burn field gas.
Field gas,
yes. Just right out there.
That's a great observation.
Okay.
That's right. And so at that time, they wanted to do all these, but the engines that they bought many years ago, they're still running. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to go and buy new equipment, a lot of capital, right? And so for us, it was the challenge of how do we update these units to the latest and greatest technology without having the customer having to spend a lot of capital in it. And so we designed this technology, and it allows you to burn, we have seen up to 85% diesel displacement. On average is about 70% diesel displacement. And the thing is, you can update an entire rig.
That is a massive savings.
It is. And you can update an entire rig for the capital that you would need to buy a brand new gas engine.
Say that again. Say that to me one more time.
So the cost of upgrading 4, which is typically what they have in a rig, the capital of updating 4 diesel engines to dual fuel is about the same as the cost of buying a brand new gas engine.
Okay, so this is called a dynamic gas blending Gen 2 kit. That's its formal name, right?
That's right.
And just DGB Gen Kit 2.
That's right.
Gen 2 kit. Well, that seems pretty cost savings.
It did, yeah.
Okay.
And it's fascinating because you said
real quick, these guys have lots of this sitting on the ground, and I'm sure they're looking at it going, I don't want to throw that away.
Right.
Right. Like I got this passed by my board last year.
Right.
And I don't want to look like I've just chunked this and I have to buy all new engines again.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And it's the customer back approach, right? I could go there and sell a gas engine or even make a new widget that has dual fuel, but what the customer needed was just a kit. And the thing that is interesting to me is, I talked about the diesel displacement, the 70% on average. Dual fuel technologies have been around for a while, but these technologies are what I call bolt-on. You have a diesel engine and then you bolt on some technologies to the diesel engine, and you're essentially running a diesel engine with some gas in it.
Just plug and play type thing.
That's right. This is a transformation. I call this a transformation of the engine. This is really transforming our diesel engine into truly a dual fuel engine. And the reason why that was important is because in drilling, you have tripping, you have drilling, and so it's very transient. And so burning gas during transient is one of the most difficult things to do. And that's what our engineering team was able to do. And that was really what drove the high diesel displacement performance.
And how long does it take to bolt these things on? I mean, it has to go into the shop for how long?
Typically, less than a week. So typically,
My goodness.
you bring it in during an overhaul, and then you bring in your diesel, you get a dual fuel. But complementary to that, we also develop a reman dual fuel solution. So if you need something faster, you turn in a diesel engine, and right away you get your reman DGB
ready to
solution
go.
ready to go.
See, this is the benefit of working with, we have a phrase that tier one companies like to work with tier one companies. And it's like, you can't, with all respect to, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a small time company or whatever, and there's things that we can do today that we couldn't do 10 years ago.
Right.
But it takes capital. And it takes, like, you have to be willing to sit on capital for a while. Caterpillar has capital, and they have history. And, obviously business cases dictate everything. But what you're describing is, once again, a 100-year philosophy that we know this is going to work. We know the customer needs this. He can't or she can't move forward without this. Let's put this here, and they're going to use this at some point.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And it's also, and something that I wanted to show as well, is also Caterpillar's ability to look at a customer need and then look at the broad portfolio and see technologies in other areas of Caterpillar and bringing them into oil and gas. And we have done that time and time again.
Yeah.
And we have been successful at that as well. But it all starts with the customer and really understanding what they need.
So your perfect marketing people sent me something, and I'm just kind of reading this real quick. I don't know if they want me to use their name, so I'm not going to use their name of the company. But it says, one of your customers in field deployment, they saw dramatic fuel savings, 65% average fuel displacement over 4,500 hours, peak displacement 75%. And then this is an interesting stat: 95,000 gallons.
Isn't that amazing?
I wonder what the cost of that really is. I mean, people, you could put money to that. 95,000 gallons of diesel on a single rig.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Saved.
That's right.
There's a dollar figure to that.
Oh, yeah.
And I bet you it's less. I would love to know what that is. And it says this was achieved using natural gas from field gas, CNG, or CNG as the primary fuel source, directly lowering fuel expense and emissions. So everybody, we have that other podcast, energy transition. Everybody thought energy transition was just going to be this thing where you turned off gas and oil and you turned on whatever. And that was crazy to think that, number one, because really we're in an energy expansion world, not energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I learned through doing that, and still learning through doing that podcast, is energy transition is, it's doing things like this.
Right.
That is a 95,000 gallons of diesel, money savings, emission savings. Like that's also a fuel truck that doesn't have to roll in and be on the road. Safety, not a fuel truck. That's a lot of fuel trucks.
Right.
That have to come in there and refuel. And that's a person, and that's a fire potential. I mean, those are, like, you just start going through down the line, what does that actually look like to displace 95,000 gallons of diesel fuel?
The real ripple effect.
It's
right?
huge.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
absolutely huge. And those are the things where you said this, I don't know if you said this on air or off air, but like, people don't really understand just how many moving parts there are with oil and gas and energy, like what that really means to the real world.
Yeah, I spent most of 2021 in the field, and it was because I wanted to immerse myself. Right, I'm not a guy that has been here for 30 years, right? So, and it was just massive. I mean, in 2021, I remember just sitting there waiting for sand, and how important sand is, right? I mean, and I sat there for hours waiting for sand, right? And so it's just fascinating. But one thing that you touched on that I wanted to expand is when we look at our product portfolio, one of the guidelines that we have is we want to make the next product have less emissions than the prior product. And with the Tier 2 DGB kit, you can actually reduce, based on how you run it, you can reduce your emission, your CO2e, by up to 45%. And that's an incredible number when you think about
how many wells,
how much it takes to get that
one,
done.
right?
That's right.
That's one.
Right. That's right. And it all comes down to the word transformation of the engine. When you burn gas through an engine to a diesel engine, you're essentially running, putting as much gas, but not all of the gas makes it to the power. Some of it actually gets released into the environment. Because he's a
You
diesel
guys should
engine.
see this guy. He's got his phone ring and he's
trying to
denied.
multitask.
He's
Yeah.
keep talking. You didn't even miss a beat. I'm the only one. You're smooth. You're gonna kill this role. Keep going.
It's the Apple Watch.
I love it. It's just a stud.
But with the DGB kit that we have, it's actually what we call port injected. So we're actually injecting the gas into the combustion chamber and controlling every aspect of it. So every ounce is getting burned.
Right.
And so you get more efficiency out of the engine, and you get less unburned methane coming out of the engine. So it's a great story from an emissions as well as economically a standpoint.
I mean, what do I want to talk about? This is the kind of notes. This is phenomenal. I wish I was this organized. I mean, there's so much stuff to talk. So you said you spent the year of 21 in the field. If I am listening to this podcast and I'm a customer and I'm like, I like this. I like Andy. I want to see some of this in action. How do I do that? How do I go pay attention to what you're talking about? How do I call you, obviously? Does Cat have I'm sure they have a fancy presentation, but do you go out on field tours? Do you have your own facility that you guys are showing people this? Like how can you put this in someone's, not hand necessarily, but where are you showing your engineer customers, your CEO customers that this is real, this isn't just theory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great question. There's multiple avenues. I mean, the low-hanging fruits, contact me. We would love to have a conversation.
Yeah.
We have our website, but we also have...
You're gonna be at Thrive in a couple weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love to connect. We also bring our customers to our factories so that they can see the operation. They can see what it takes. We have done demos. We leverage a lot of our dealers to show our equipment. And so there is different it all depends on what the customer wants to see. We have even taken them to operations that are not even related to oil and gas so they can go see the technology that we could deploy. And so, it's all about thinking outside of the box. And if I take somebody to, I'm just going to say a mining site, because there is a specific technology that I want to talk about with somebody that has that forward-thinking attitude,
right?
We can do that. So there's many ways to do it, but it all starts with a conversation. I have a brilliant account management team that are always waiting for customers to come in and want to have a conversation about technologies. And then after that, we introduce him to the world of Caterpillar engineering, which is really the bread and butter.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's somewhat over some people's heads. It's got to be some of the smartest engineering out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was fascinating when I was in engineering and just being able to work with some of the most brilliant people in the world. And you said it, we're a Fortune 500 company and towards the top, right? And that attracts a lot of talent,
right?
And I remember early on in my career talking to the bolt guy, and this is a guy that knows bolt and been working on bolts for 30 years, right?
That's his thing.
And man, he can talk to you about bolt.
That's right.
And so, if you start thinking about that within the Caterpillar, I call it Mothership.
Sure.
It's just fascinating of all of the creativity that we can do. But we're always focused on making sure that we're not just creating widget or engineering for the sake of engineering. We got to start with understanding the application, understanding the customer needs.
The bolt guy. That person, just so you know, as I mentioned, I'm from the manufacturing world. Yeah. And the original podcast that we have is Oilfield 360. And the reason that we started that podcast was because I'm from the world of forgings, closed die, open die, etc. And I've met the proverbial bolt guy before, right? Yes. And he's also the machine shop guy, and he's the heat treat guy, and he's the he's the guy that nobody ever pays attention to, but he makes sure that the quality and attention to detail in his is perfect. Absolutely. And I bet you his shop and his section of the shop, that hammer has a tape around it where that hammer goes every day, and it never leaves its spot. And if it does, it goes right back to it. And when you tour, I would imagine, because I've actually toured some of the Cat plants as well, there isn't a bolt out of place. And, those are the types of people that, you remember the old Chevy commercial where the heartbeat of America?
Oh, yeah.
That commercial came out in the 80s, whatever it was. And then you go visit the shops you're talking about and you meet the bolt guy. And the bolt guy, you realize that the heartbeat of America is that manufacturing. Like Caterpillar it's a phenomenal story. It just is. I mean, that's why we're so honored to do this with Cat.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I mean, it really is. It's just awesome because like that guy and girl, I mean, I've worked these people for 25 years. They don't get enough attention.
Yes.
They just don't. And I really hope that I'm glad you brought up the bolt guy.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, and it's connecting part of my journey through Caterpillar is connecting the bolt guy or gal to the customer, because it's vice versa too.
Absolutely.
It's vice versa. It's the JF Kennedy story of the bolt guy say, no, you're not just creating bolt. In the case of JF Kennedy, you're putting somebody in the moon, right? The guy that was cleaning floor. And it's the same thing that we want to do at Caterpillar, and we continue to do, is making sure that that person understands the impact that they have on the customer's operation.
These notes are ridiculous. And I mean that in the right way. They're so excellently done. This is the same kind of excellence that the bolt person done, that the same type of diesel fuel reduction is done. Yeah. That like this is, and look, this is not a Cat commercial. It's not. There's other really great companies out there too. There really are. And but if you're not doing things the right way, if you're not focused on this, if you're not zoned in, you don't even get the call back.
Right.
You just don't get the call back.
Right.
So,
right.
You have I do have a couple more questions, but I just want to focus on like the minutia of the bolt is what gets us here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I don't want that. Maybe
100%.
I'm loyal to the bolt person.
100%.
So
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, you can create a great widget, but can you create 10,000 of them? That's the other thing.
Great point, man. Great point. So, kind of going slightly bypassing the bolt minutia to any of these what oil and gas calls technology, the world doesn't call technology, right? The world calls technology AI, and just different kinds of computer and such. Like, is that a world that you touch very often in your? Are you having to put more computer technologies? And I do want to use the word technologies instead of computer tech. IT, OT. Is that something that you're having to be more involved with in what you do on a daily basis because your customers are demanding it? Are they asking for more of that?
Yeah, that is an interesting space because I think one of the areas that I'm very proud of to be part of this industry is just how quickly our customers innovate in that space, in digital space, right?
Okay, digital, that's the word I'm looking for.
And so for us is understanding how we fit within that digital ecosystem. And if you think about SPM, there is a lot of automation that we can do in that space, right? and move away from the dumb iron. And that's something that we have doubled down on and we have really put a lot of emphasis in. When you think about the engine itself, it's fascinating. It's to me, I don't know that I need to create a great website for somebody to go look at data on the engine, but it's about getting the bolt person, going back to that, and helping them understand how important it is to tell the customer when an engine is about to have an event.
Exactly. Preventative.
So proactive, predictive reliability, right? So that's where we want to put our efforts on, because that's where we think that we have the right to win in that space and provide value to the customer. But by saying, hey, you have this asset, now how can we help you get more out of this asset? And asset number one, you might be able to extend it a little bit more. Asset number two, you have to have a touch point earlier.
Right.
But that helps a lot to the operation. But that is one of the most difficult things to do, because it's not just about being able to predict a failure. You have to understand the context of the operation to know whether the engine is truly failing or there is something else going on.
So you've brought up SPM. I've avoided this to the very end because, like I said, I would have consumed the whole.
Yeah.
So I'm from Fort Worth. That's where I grew up.
I go there often.
Isn't it great?
Fort
Worth is a great town. So we still sell. I'm still in the fluid end, raw material frac business, steel business, and we sell fluid ends. And you want to talk about what technology has done to a fluid end itself? I will never forget. I had a conversation with a guy. Call it 2000, maybe 13, 14.
Okay.
And he said, if you can get me 900 hours on my fluid ends, I'll give you all of my business. And that was the goal. Like at that time, 500 hours was about the number.
Right.
Think about that today.
Right.
If I told you right now I was going to get you 900 hours, you would say, thank you, get out of my office.
That's right.
You wouldn't even let me in the office.
That's right.
And it is incredible, the technology developments that have happened in that space, whether it be steel, all the different manufacturing processes, but really it's the predictive failures that have happened, right? Like they know what's going to happen. They take a look at it. There's sensors all over the place. That, and because CAT can control really everything on the pad site there, from like the whole setup.
Right.
The engine, the fluid end, the frac, the frame, all of it. I would imagine you're getting lots of hours on these frac pumps and fluid ends. I don't know your exact numbers, but that I would think that's a huge value add for your customers.
It has definitely been a journey for us.
Yeah.
And I would touch on a couple of things. I think as we evolve in our technologies in SPM, so does the operation.
Sure.
And so, it's not just catching up to what the customer needs, but the customer needs are evolving. So, you may have a great product that is 2,000, 2,500 hours, but now they need 3,000 horsepower, right? And so that has been a great journey. But you touched on something that is very important to us. SPM for us is so important because we want to be able to provide our customer power-to-wellhead solutions and not just components. And part of this journey is around grabbing the great minds of SPM and putting them together in the room with the great minds of Caterpillar and making a step change in the industry. And I'm very excited about where SPM is going.
Good.
Because there's a lot of things that I can't talk about today, but we have some revolutionary things going on that is hoping to hit the market here towards the end of the year or next year, that I think for us is going to start moving the needle towards the excellence that you see from Caterpillar. Sure. We also want to have from SPM in all aspects. And I was referring to power end and fluid ends, but there is also a lot of great things that we're doing in the automation space. Okay. And the flow iron that we're very excited about. And so again, for us is how do we get the application expertise and those engineers and really getting them with the people, the bolt person, right? And really getting them to start thinking about, the strategy is not to have the latest widget in LinkedIn. The strategy is to move the needle like we do on the power side.
I totally agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, can you imagine a world in the future where at the same time as you're doing an overhaul on an engine, you're also doing an overhaul on the pump, that the pump lasts that long? Well, I'm not saying that's going to happen.
I don't like it that much because my frac business isn't what it used to be, but I'd like to go back to the 500 hours.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. But no, listen, that's where we're going. This is where we're going, yes. Right, and and it's good for everybody. It's good for the consumer ultimately. The consumer is the one that wants cleaner air, lower electric bills, more power, that when they want to turn that switch, the power comes on.
Right.
I'll never forget, I was in Brazil, and I was with it was a phenomenal trip. I don't mean to name drop, but I was with the president of their NBC Sports down there. So,
you have to name drop.
Well, I have
that's
to,
a big
because
deal.
It makes the story.
Yeah.
It's a cool story. So we were in their penthouse in Brazil, and what is it, Ipanema Beach down there, and phenomenal, beautiful setup. And you're just looking at this going, this is unbelievable. And they both speak perfect English. I think his wife grew up in Panama, so it was a great setup. And I said, this is incredible. And she goes, yeah, it's great. And she goes, but it makes you really, she goes, America's really great too. And I went, okay, like, I don't know, this seems pretty great. And she said, the thing about America is when you hit that light switch, the power's coming on.
You're expected.
Yes. And she says, here, when you hit the light switch, it doesn't come on every time. And you don't know when it's going to come back on. And she says, and I'm thinking to myself, this is one of the nicest buildings, if not the nicest building in the entire region. These people can do whatever they want. They can private jet the second they want to, anywhere they want to go. And I thought, that is an interesting mindset of how much we take for granted that light switch just clicks on.
Right.
And when what you're describing, these efficiencies, they just make sure they continue to keep that light switch coming on. People don't realize that the Bolt guy and the 3,000 hour guy, the 3,000 horsepower, like those little widgets add up to that light switch coming on every single time, and how important that is.
100%.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, the hundreds and thousands of jobs, actually hundreds of thousands of jobs, really, that come along with both direct and indirect oil and gas and industrial related jobs. It's just phenomenal. It's a phenomenal industry that we serve.
Well, and I think to that, I mean, I got goosebumps, by the way, just sharing that story. But, when we think about data centers and AI, we need fuel.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
How am I going to send my TikToks?
Right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, I joke with my kids, they're generating an AI image, and then I'm telling them, like, we probably just fired up 2 gensets to do this, But no, I mean, I think when you think about...
We fired up 2 gensets. Keep going.
That's right. That's right. Get them going. More images. I think for us, the space that we play, and, I'm playing both in the production power and the frag world, and the drilling, but it's not just providing power to the data center, but the focus on oil and gas is also we need more fuel because there's more demand. And so we play such a huge role in the next generation, which is AI, which is the data centers, which is all of these, right? And a lot of focus is in power, but we need the fuel. And so does a lot of other countries around the world.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? I mean, we are... for all intents and purposes, everybody that's listening to this podcast is very, very rich. Like, they just are. And when you go to somewhere that doesn't have everything you just described, then you realize how much they want it.
Right.
And, again, try when the power doesn't come on.
Right.
And see how annoying is the easy word to use.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if you have a sick parent or a sick anything and you can't get power to the breathing machine? Like, that's the stuff that we forget about, that we take for granted. Is probably the better way to say it. So, yeah.
Josh, Tuesdays and Thursdays. When I was young in Cuba, Tuesdays and Thursdays is no power.
Really?
Yeah. You expected.
See, I got goosebumps on that one. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. So what a full circle where now I'm working on an industry that enables that type of solutions to other parts of the world, right? So I'm just talking about one country. There's many other countries where they have that need.
Well, listen, Caterpillar knows what they're doing. Hiring you 17 years ago, promoting you, getting this podcast. By the way, great job, Caterpillar, getting this podcast going with us. I mean, these notes, I paid attention to some of them. I loved it, though. Some of these things got questioned. Thank you for the notes. They were great. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave the audience with, or did we just do the greatest job ever?
I don't know about me, but you did a great job, and I loved the conversation.
You're awesome, by the way.
Thank you very much. I would say you hit on this. We spent last year really reminiscing about 100 years at Caterpillar, and I got to see things that I didn't even see in my first 17 years, like photographs and videos and things like that. And I'm so excited about the new strategy that our CEO rolled out and the leadership team, because it is really a blueprint of leveraging what made us get to 100 years,
right,
and go to another 100 years.
That's the way to go.
In a world that is changing. And the focus is very simple, and it actually stands for CAT. It's customer excellence, customer back approach, advanced technology leader. We talked about a lot of the technologies that we bring, and then transforming how we do things, right? It's not changing, it's transforming. It's a step change on how we're doing it. So I'm so excited about that, and so excited about continuing to work with the customers to understand what's next and be there in the tough times and the good times.
Well, is it Andres or Andy? Andy's.
I get that question a lot.
Yeah. So what was your given name at birth?
It's Andy.
Your parents said, let's gringo it right away.
It's Andy.
Andy.
Yeah.
Andy Puebla. Well, no, Publes.
Yeah, you gotta remember, you got to thread the needle with my last
listen,
name.
I had a great Spanish 2 teacher, Senora Flowers.
There you go.
She was amazing. If you messed up your accents, your tilde, she would get on you. So, Andy Publes.
I have not heard it that way in many years. I would tell you that. That was excellent.
Oh, this is great. So just so you know, we had to have somebody in person for the launch. I was like, we can't do a video call. I'm just not any good. I get distracted. I'm, whatever. I need face-to-face. You were the perfect first guest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this. This is going to be a phenomenal show. Caterpillar's going to win. We're all going to win from doing this.
100%.
I would like you to come back. So you said you have something to announce later in the year or early next year. Go up there and push SPM. Say, hey, we got to come back before the barbecue.
Yeah, that's right.
That's November.
That's right.
So that gives you a long time to get at least, can we announce this by barbecue time?
I'll go back and say, hey, the podcast is already set, so we got to align the product development.
This is on record. So, Andy, thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Kat, thank you very much for your time. So this is actually on the Caterpillar website. So go to Caterpillar.com, Caterpillar Oil and Gas. It is listed under your podcasts. We're also going to announce it and kind of push it through all of our social media channels under LinkedIn. So look up Upright Digital on LinkedIn. Look up Caterpillar Oil and Gas on LinkedIn. You are, I'm assuming, on LinkedIn as well. If people want to get in touch with you, we're not going to give out phone numbers. That's crazy. One of my partners one time gave out his satellite phone number, and I go, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
This is the dumbest. It's like $8 a minute. You're an idiot. So we deleted that. So we're not going to do that. But people will be able to get in touch with you. So we'll leave your information if people want to get in touch with you guys.
That would be fantastic.
But this is great. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, give us a call at Upright Digital. Caitlin stepped in. Our backup producer, Caitlin, hated doing this, but she did. Thank you for stepping in today, Caitlin.
Thank you.